Hello, welcome to an INFJ ramble. I don't know, as usual, I don't know how I'm going to stitch this together, but I had an idea that passed through my mind that I kind of wanted to outlet. It had to do with INFJs being the chameleon or absorbing other people's emotions, experiencing others through interaction and connection. And, you know, everything has two sides, it's not one way or the other. It's like both perspectives are necessary in order to get a more universal perspective on the subject at hand. So some people think that our ability to be chameleons are bad, and I mean, it just depends. Are you looking at this side or that side? You know what I mean? It can be bad, I suppose, especially if you haven't been able to distinguish who you are versus who the other person is. But it's also a gift if you think about it. You know what I mean? You're able to access like these intimate areas of other people that most people cannot, so that's why you get great insights. That's why you're able to see patterns. That's why you're able to see beyond the surface and, kind of read people's energetic signature based on all these different cues and these different angles that we are able to access. We do the chameleon thing for several reasons. We want people to feel comfortable. We want people to feel understood. We want people to feel validated. And so we do the chameleon thing in order to mirror them, in order to, make them feel like they've found some commonalities with us. And so they feel safer and more apt to open themselves up to us. And it's cool because I think for the most part we don't have, like, our intention is not to hurt anyone. And so when we do access these things in other people, it's not to hurt them or to I don't want to say, well, it is a form of manipulation, but we are doing it in the best interest, I guess, of the opposing party, including ourselves, so that we can help them to open up different spheres of themselves that they normally wouldn't, in someone else's presence. But yeah, I guess it can feel off kilter if you haven't done any self-inquiry into yourself. And you don't even understand yourself because you're always lost in everyone else's energy. But if you can kind of learn to differentiate the two, recognize your energy, and so when you step into someone else's energetic field, you can tell like what is theirs and what is yours, and you're able to discern and, make that separation, then it's fine. But it helps you to know people and experience the world through other people's eyes, or other people's perspectives. So I think that's really the gift that we are blessed with, our ability to be chameleons and to blend in and to almost encapsulate what the other person is experiencing in the moment. And it's funny, not trying to sound arrogant or anything at all. Seriously, coming from a very humble place. I was thinking about creation and what this is all about. And I mean, you can't really put it into words. We have a very limited dialogue that cannot, explain everything. There's like your intuition, your feelings. There's some things that you experience, but you can't put into words, And I've experienced this for most of my life, and that's why I still have a hard time like expressing myself, especially when put on spot. But if you give me the time to digest and process and, piece everything together, I need that time to, you know, how do I say? I don't know, piece together an expression, then I could probably do it to a degree, but it still doesn't, like, I don't know. It doesn't, it cannot express fully what I am trying to outlet. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like a fraction of it, you know, but if I'm given time to digest and process and piece things together, that's how I think we're supposedly good writers, because if we are given that time to like really take all the information that we've gathered throughout all the moments, you know, we can really like try to put it down, not in words, but on paper, because we have that time to do so. Yeah, where was I going with this? So creation. I was thinking about it, and this may not be the best explanation, but I feel like creation is basically the creator experiencing itself through all these various forms and shapes and dimensions. And, you know, animals, plants, minerals, elements, humans. It's just a creator experiencing itself through different outlets or whatever. And you probably read this in books. I mean, I haven't found an explanation that can surpass that idea. I mean, that seems to make the most sense to me. And in the same light, in the same vein, INFJs are, you know, experiencing life through others. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we are more in tune and in touch with creator or creation than probably most people, because of our ability to access all that information that most people cannot even fathom. You know what I mean? And yeah, it may seem like a curse because you feel misunderstood, but it's actually a blessing. And you've been given this rite of passage or this power to access these things, you know? And so I feel like in your heart of heart and your souls of souls, you know, you've always wanted to know anyway. And so you're being granted permission to see a lot of things that most people don't pick up on, you know? So utilize that. And I think maybe we are granted permission to access so much of this sacred and noble information because we have, whether you care to embrace it or not, we're probably here to shift and change things to a higher degree. And it doesn't mean you need to be like famous to do so. You can do so in a very humble and, you know, almost silent way, which we usually do. You know, we are like the background workers. I've also noticed something about me. Maybe you can relate. I think I have a tendency to be a harmonizer. I have a tendency to see and feel when things are not in alignment in any situation. Even if like for instance, in my home, I know when something is misplaced. You know, just these subtle things that most people, it would totally fly by their head. See when something is misplaced, even if it's just like a little angle or degree. And then, you know, it's like my nature to just hone in on things that are not in alignment and to realign them. So we're here to realign, rebalance, you know, help people to access higher levels of their being so that we can, you know, bring about the change that is necessary on the earth. Whether you care to believe that or not is totally cool, but that is just my own personal perspective. It's not an easy task, and I think only the strongest and the most courageous and the most willing people can take on that responsibility. And of course, with, you know, what is that saying? I don't really know it verbatim. I probably am going to massacre it right now, but with great power comes great responsibility. And so, you know, we are given these access to a lot of information that most people cannot access because there's a lot of power in that. And it's not necessarily noticeable or in your face power, you know, but it's a subtle power. And I don't know if you agree or disagree, but there's so much power in subtleness. You know, I think, like, for instance, if you were to encounter someone who is hurt, you know, impeding your will on them like that does not help. But a very subtle word, glance, presence, touch makes all the difference. You know what I mean? It's the subtle things, the little things that are really, really great. And I think our society has it misplaced. They think like, oh, in order to be great, it has to be grand and in your face and, you know, like out there. No, I think that's just insecurity. But that's just my own personal perspective. And because everything is such a mental construct, there's so much energy in, like I said, subtle things like your thoughts, your feelings, you know, the energy that you are holding and emitting. That is creating reality. And your subtle influence does, whether you realize it or not, it is making a difference. Even though you're not like doing what is supposedly defined as successful in this current reality and realm, you know, like just your presence. That's why it's so important to work on yourself, to realize yourself, to, you know, be able to not only tap into other people, but to realize who you are and, you know, hone in on that and encapsulate that, because that is the change that you are going to bring out upon this world. Anyways, I like to ramble and I'm going to stop, but I hope you're having a marvelous day. Who is that? Ray Charles. Hilarious. Anyways, I am totally aware that I am fucking weird, and I've embraced my weirdness, and I just don't care. Like, I tell a lot of people, if you like me, you like me. If you don't like me, you don't. And it's not personal. You know, tomato, tomato. Anyways, blessings to one and all. Amen.